As we learned at the E3 conference, technology is getting better and better, and developers are rushing toward these new emerging technologies to tell their stories and have their games play better. But there's still a subsect of the market that is devolving, if you would say. Shovel Knight just came out, for example. People are very excited about it, but it looks, you know, markedly like an NES game. Now, why is this? Is there a certain nostalgia? Why do 8-bit games and 80s-looking things do so well?
The broad answer is that things were better when we were kids, and not necessarily that games were better or movies were better or TV were better.
But how we felt?
But yeah, but we felt so passionately about them. That was during our formative years. There was a lot of discovery, and we always are looking to recapture that feeling from our youth, and that these help us do that in a very specific way.
If you don't feel that way, please check out this video. Takes you back, doesn't it?
It's fantastic. I love everything about it. The specifics that they got right, such as in all those credit sequences, it was always people just kind of going like,
It's wacky, and we have the stupid font and the tracking errors because this was a VHS.
That like Xena Warrior Princess font?
Just because it's stupid doesn't mean she doesn't like it.
I said it was stupid. I didn't say it was like negative in a bad way.
Yeah.
But we have this huge nostalgia market. I mean, you'll see videos every now and then that are like, here's the 80s version of this, or here's the 90s version, here's the 8-bit version of this TV show, and it's an interesting trend.
Music specifically, like, will anchor you in a time so vividly. Like, there's like a certain weather that I associate with certain, like, it reminds me of Fall in the Valley in 1989. Like, all songs like this, and any rock song with a saxophone in it, you know, you're just like,
So you like that new Ariana Grande song with
can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of it. But I just, it anchors you so much, and I absolutely agree that and we mythologize things as we progress, and it takes us back to when we could physiologically smell more, hear better. You know, they say there's certain frequencies you can't hear as you get older. It takes us to a point where our visceral experience of things was physiologically more vivid.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's interesting because I feel like the creators of today, they have those feelings inside them. So they're making not necessarily exactly the same as what they saw when they were younger, what they actually saw, but maybe this version that they felt like they saw, or they think their brain processes it in this way. So it's just this new kind of hybrid version. But it makes things that you're already comfortable with, Game of Thrones, all that more inviting by bringing your childhood and your nostalgia and idealization of the past right into the mix.
It's great, and over time, like, things can't stay the same, or they'll stagnate and they'll be terrible. Mm-hmm. What that yields is people trying to do new stuff, which is frequently terrible and misguided. And at another thing, just by virtue of that dynamic, 20 years later, you will look back and have something different. And so just to juxtapose those two things together, yeah, so rewarding. I love it.
It's the art of the demake.
But do you think that this generation is more nostalgic than previous generations?
I don't know that we're more nostalgic, but I think we certainly have the power to make things that reflect that nostalgia.
Yeah, I can see that. Like Family Guy. Like, they were made fun of because of that manatee episode.
Remember that time that this happened? Remember that time that happened?
Did you say Conan last night was pretty amazing? Conan had a thing with Andy Richter, and he just like, I'm trying out a new segment. It's called Remember This. And he just kept showing things over his shoulder. Remember this?
What?
Remember that? Remember this? And it was, poking fun at.
Well, nostalgia is a very interesting part of our pop culture.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's amazing. I can watch it forever. You had some other examples?
Far Cry Blood Dragon,
So good.
which we know Far Cry 3 was a modern game. broke a lot of barriers. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon reminded us of the area in the early 90s where things were a little bit corny and lasery and weird and bad and made no sense at all. But we still love it. We still love it.
So good.
And like pixel sprite games are so huge right now with indie developers. And the great thing about that is that you can use the conventions and the aesthetics that we remember and love, but with like more modern gameplay. Everything that we've learned about making video games in the last 20, 25, 30 years can be applied to this game so that it plays even better than we remember them playing.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, one of the developers for Shovel Knight was like, we could have done the sprite flicker thing where literally if there's too many things on the screen, all the sprites flicker. That's kind of annoying. So they cut that out and only gave you the best part.
There is a little sprite flicker in that game, a little bit.
Well, they cut out most of it.
The annoying part. That's what they're allowed to do. They're allowed to get rid of the annoying part and keep the part
They're not limited by the technology, only by what they want.
That's so good. We did that. We did for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we did an 80s rap song, and we also commissioned like a company to do an 8-bit video game reenactment of one of the episodes. It was great. We loved it. It was fantastic.
And I've made videos where like you shoot on an old camera and you take it and you run it through a couple of VCR recordings over and over again, so you get that cool color distortion with the red and the green.
Fuck you, Baltimore.
Lines. So it's cool. It's a fun process to do and kind of like remember how stuff used to look like that.
It's really interesting to think about it in this way because we always see these things pop up, but we don't really understand why. Now we kind of do. How does that make you feel about the nostalgia factor into your daily life, your de-made popular culture items, as it were? Please let us know what you think below in the comments, and please be sure to subscribe and check out our Facebook page.